Hi, I'm Ben, and I like plants, mushrooms, blue wood, and stuff like that. It's a nice warm summer day, perfect for looking for things. Let's go look around for a while. What do these look like to you? To me, it seems like they're these little white ghost dicks popping up all over the place. They look a bit like mushrooms, but real pale and phallic. These mushrooms are surrounded by other ones that look a bit more normal. Maybe we can look at the normal ones to get a better idea of what's happening with the weird ones. Alright, so let's dig in. These more normal looking mushrooms just scream Amanita with all of their features. The speckled cap, covered in bits of the universal veil. The glorious annulus beneath the gills. And of course the bulbous vulva. And really just about everything else about them. They're in the Amanita genus without a doubt. So when something screams Amanita, usually foragers scream too and run away. Or at least that's what I do. Some mushrooms in this genus are edible, but others are potent enough to make you dead a few times over, so I never take the chance. But this particular mushroom might be one of the special cases, where mycologists creep up closer and take a nice little snack. Or maybe not, because mushrooms are really confusing sometimes, and don't always make that much sense. So after doing a little research, I've identified this mushroom as the blusher. Or that's sort of what it is. The blusher, amerirubescens, is the normal species that's found throughout Europe. But this isn't Europe. This is America, land of the slightly different mushrooms. This mushroom is likely Amanita amerirubescens, which is a slightly different variation of the blusher that can be found in the northeastern United States. Or at least that's what someone on Reddit told me when I tried to confirm it as the blusher. So let's take a closer look and see what's going on. The caps are generally a cream color, with creamy off-white speckles. These speckles are remnants of the universal veil that covers the immature mushroom while it's still developing. There might be pinkish blemishes on the cap where it's been damaged. In this case, there's very, very faint blushing. The gills are a pure white, and are close to the stem, but not attached. The stems are cream-colored and flare at the base where it forms a nice round bulb. The bulb-shaped part in mushrooms is called the vulva. There may also be some red discoloration here. The cut base should discolor slowly around the edges to pink, although in my experience this really only happens in the outermost layer of the mushroom, and most of the flesh remains pure white. In most pictures of the European variety, the flesh stains to an unmistakable pinkish red. I should also note that these commonly grow around oaks and pines. In this case, these are growing in a stand of Scotch pine. You could probably tell that by the loads of needles and pine cones around the mushrooms. The European variety is edible, but only after cooking. In their raw form, these contain a hemolytic protein, which, in the gist of it, would cause blood cells to break and die. That only sounds slightly terrifying, but at least cooking should destroy anything harmful. I would thoroughly cook mushrooms anyways, since I hate raw ones. They're weird and mealy anyways. Just to make things even more confusing, there are some reports that question the edibility of the American variety of blusher. Apparently that happens occasionally, where one species of mushroom is good to eat in the Old World, but a nearly identical species in America causes some funky side effects, ranging anywhere from runny poops to death. It's a nice spectrum. I've never eaten any of these or any of the related species before, since I'm pretty damn terrified of eating any of the amanitas. I would probably need a professional mycologist to confirm the ID before eating one. That would make me feel way better than doing some identification on my own. So just to be safe, don't mess with these, and I would advise that you either seek out different mushrooms, a professional mycologist, or better yet, both. But wow, these really are pretty mushrooms, with their big dangly skirts still intact. These skirts are the annulus, or remnants of the veil that covered the gills of the developing mushroom. I really like these mushrooms. But that's enough of those. Let's get back to the question from before. What exactly are those pale phallic things? These are actually the same thing as the blushers, but with a little something extra mixed in. These are blushers that have been parasitized by Hypomyces hyalinus, another type of fungus. When parasitized, the mushrooms still grow, but they grow weirdly. The gills don't mature, and the cap stays tight to the stipe, forming these weird, ghostly penises. They're surprisingly hefty, too. I mean, like, way heftier than mine. I mean, what? The flesh is really dense, and they seem to absorb much more water this way. The mushrooms turn weird and brittle, too. I'm not sure if these mushrooms are edible either. Some parasitized mushrooms are, such as the aborted entelomas, but I have no clue about these. I haven't found anything yet, so if anyone does know, let me know. I'm sure that would be pretty interesting. Could you imagine going to a farmer's market with a basket of dick mushrooms? The marketing opportunities would be endless. Anyways, it's kinda spooky out here with all the ghost penises sprouting about. Let's keep moving and head out of here. This is a neat little mushroom. There's not much to say about these, other than the fact that they look cool. Like little flames, or candles or something. I think this is Clavulinopsis laeticolor, but it could also be Clavulinopsis fusiformis. Although the fusiformis species seems to be larger than laeticolor, so I'm not really sure. But anyway, they're too small for anything. They're just neat little mushrooms that decompose the leaf litter. Fun stuff. Now this is the thing that people pray for and hope to find in the woods. And if they're actually around, they're nearly impossible to miss. Just look at that color. Radiant. Gorgeous. Cinnabar orange-red. It's so good. These are red chanterelles. Found in the summer and fall, these edible mushrooms prefer to grow around beeches, oaks, and hickories. In fact, they need to form a mycorrhizal relationship with the hardwood tree in order to survive. In this relationship, the chanterelle sends its mycelium through the soil, tapping into water and nutrients that the tree would otherwise be unable to obtain. In return, the tree gives carbon in the form of sugars to the network of chanterelle mycelium. And then, when the time is just right, comes an explosion of neon orange. Chanterelle, chanterelles. Big ones, small ones, glorious ones, just okay, and muddy ones. Things to note about these. Pay attention to the gills. They should appear as small, raised, lumpy things rather than true, loose, papery, wing-like gills. They'll be slightly decurrent, or running down the stem, and that's really about the only thing you need to watch out for. These mushrooms are choice edibles, and I'm going to pick a bunch, but leave behind many of the small, and the big ugly, and scraggly, and the immature ones to continue their life cycle and pump out some more spores. You gotta let those bad boys reproduce. Just a few minutes of picking in a good patch will yield enough for a nice mushroom-enhanced dinner. This is what I ended up picking in just this little patch. There was still a ton left in here, but I wanted to leave some behind and be a good person. Absolutely ducking delicious. Walking through a scrubby area, I found a neat little yellow wildflower. It's not really too spectacular, but I'm bored, so let's take a look. This unassuming yellow wildflower is known as Agrimony, or Agrimony. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. Where I am in the northeast, we have what I think is Agrimonia gryposepala, which I'm also probably butchering. The most distinguishing features are the delicate yellow flowers on a long, slender stem. Another cool feature for this plant is that both the flowers and leaves have a spicy, fruity scent. If you can find enough of them, the flowers make a nice tea on their own, or a nice addition to a tea mix. The leaves of Agrimony are interesting, vaguely resembling raspberry plant leaves. They're both hairy and serrated and compound, and slightly similar, but Agrimony has these weird little leafy things in between. It's been a while since plant bio, so I kind of forgot what these are called. There's probably a name for them, but that's a lot of boring yellow wildflowers for now, so look at this thing. I found some blue wood. That's pretty neat. This wood is blue, which is sorta cool when you consider the fact that wood normally isn't blue, but this wood is. So this is probably wood from the magic tree, in which case I'll need a woodcutting skill of 75 and a membership to cut it. Ah, RuneScape. So much wasted childhood. So why is this wood blue? Did somebody come through and paint it? Nah. Is it blue mushrooms? Yep. This is caused by the blue elf-cup mushroom. It's a really small, low-key mushroom that hangs out around dead wood, along with many other wood-eating fungal dudes. I don't think you can eat it, or even if you could, it wouldn't be worth it. The actual mushroomy parts are so small and tough and leathery, so I would just say don't do it. The really cool thing about this one is that the mycelium stains the wood a nice greenish blue. This wood can be used for some fancy woodworking projects, although finding wood that isn't spongy but still has the amazing blue color can be kinda hard. Someday I'd like to find enough of this wood and make something out of it. That'd be cool. Alright, so that's all I have for this time. This day's journey has been documented in full. which isn't really today since I'm uploading this sometime in winter, but hey, maybe no one will notice. Hopefully you enjoyed me jabbering on for a while about all the mushrooms and plant stuff, or maybe even muted it just to look at the pretty pictures. If the 4 people who managed to find this in the depths of the internet feel like leaving some feedback, that would be great. I really want to get better at this before I share it with anyone that might disown me. And I'd like to give a special thanks to my first subscriber, JimEcho82. It really means a lot. Okay, that's enough of that. Thanks for watching, and good night.